Ooh, spooky ghouls and ghosts. Terrifying. Welcome to Respawn Aim Fire, the kick-ass irreverent gaming podcast from Affable Idiots. I'm one of your hosts, Adam, and today I have with me the master of murder, Chad.
It's me? I'm the master of murder? Damn it! You blew my cover right on Twitch.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Speaking of Twitch, you go to twitch.tv/AffableIdiots Sunday evenings at 8:30 Eastern, like you can be right now, and watch the show live. YouTube and podcast services on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. if you want to catch the show later than that. Like I said, episode 229. Upcoming on today's show, DC Fandome happened this weekend. Boy, Matt Reeves knows how to make movies. And we're going to talk about the gaming.
Right?
Man. Wow. We're going to talk about the gaming news from DC Fandome. Animal Crossing Direct plus Expansion Pass is also things that happened. And Rockstar Games has acknowledged me and more.
I watched that Matt Reeves trailer 6 times.
Oh my god!
In 3 different ways.
Oh yeah, 420p, 1080p, 4K.
Well, watched it on my whenever it was released. I was in my car. I was just pulling into the driveway, so I watched it in my car on my phone, and then I came upstairs, watched it on YouTube on the TV, and then I saw the Matt Reeves tweet. It's like, you watch it now on Vimeo in 4K, just like the film is going to be. And I started watching it on my phone. And I was like, all right, that's fine. And then I watched it on my TV in the Vimeo app, and it was amazing. And I watched it again in that. And then I watched it again on YouTube after I sent it to a person on my phone. So
nice.
It's fantastic. What a trailer.
Man, like I said on Twitter earlier today, but I love that this Batman he's definitely like year one Batman, where he's his whole goal is like, all right, I need to take out crime. I will cripple every criminal that's in this city. Like, he's terrifying. Like, I'm like, he's going to kill. It feels like when we play Arkham and you're doing like, you get your combo meter up.
Yeah.
And it's like, that dude's neck is broken. Batman paralyzed that man. That's what Robert Pattinson's doing. He's like, I will just put you in the hospital for 20 years straight. Yeah, because I got to get rid of crime.
And that was my biggest thing when they announced Robert Pattinson. I was like, there's no way he's going to be intimidating enough to be, just like, look at him. And there's no way he can be intimidating enough to be Batman. And then watching that trailer, I was like, fuck.
When he's walking through the fire towards Penguin's car, yes. I'm like,
when he's walking in the hallway and they're shooting at him and he's just like beating the shit out of him, getting shot 30,000 times. Oh my God.
Eating bullets.
But I think it was it Dallas on Twitter pointed out, like, thank God no one shoots him in the mouth.
Yeah, just stay away from here.
Right.
And you'll be fine.
Do you think that's why Christian Bale had the fake teeth? Because they were bulletproof teeth?
Christian Bale had fake teeth?
Yes. This is something we learned on AAWI a couple months ago. Christian Bale, actually, so the real life answer is when he played American Psycho, I forget his character's name in American Psycho, he said that his character was so obsessed with perfection that he probably wouldn't have Christian Bale's real teeth. So Christian Bale got, no longer has his original teeth and has fake teeth, and he has his real teeth in a mold on his mantle on his fireplace. Dude fucking changed. He got rid of his whole mouth for a movie.
Yeah, that's Christian Bale for you. Him and Daniel Day-Lewis should just hang out one day. Speaking of Daniel Day-Lewis, we're going to go on to our main quest.
Yeah.
DC Fandome. We got some cool games. We're going to talk about the cool games. The first rundown of the first thing we saw, which was Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. This is coming from Timur Hussein at GameSpot, and from me watching it, because it was very good.
Did you watch the whole event, or did you just watch trailers and catch up?
I just watched trailers afterwards. I was working. But what? Don't hold a 4-hour event on a Saturday afternoon. Get out of here,
right?
DC.
Gross.
Crazy. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is the newest game from Rocksteady Studios, acclaimed developer of the Batman Arkham series. The new trailer shows Amanda Waller put together a team of criminals that are sent on a suicide mission with the promise of freedom should they succeed. You know, we know what Suicide Squad is. This suicide mission, however, involves killing off the Justice League. Fun to point out that the actor playing Amanda Waller is Seer from Star Wars, and she's also Wolfenstein.
Deborah Wilson, also of Mad TV fame. And
Wolfenstein, I didn't know she was on
too.
Mad TV. Oh, I didn't know she was on Mad TV. Superman, Flash, Jon Stewart's Green Lantern, the good Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman all make appearance in the trailer. Superman, I noticed, okay, so this next story, it was written in the breakdown, but I also noticed this because my phone froze at this exact moment because it had the buffer. So that was funny. Superman at one point is shown as being pinned down and kicking someone off of him. That looks like that person is Wonder Woman. Yeah. So the minute my thing froze to buffer, I just saw the tiara, and then it's like his laser eyes. I'm like, oh, Wonder Woman and Superman are fighting. Interesting. Rocksteady's Sefton Hill previously said that some of the narrative threads established in the Arkham trilogy will be picked up in Suicide Squad. So spoilers for Batman Arkham Knight. Give me 10 seconds. Bruce Wayne fakes his death at the end of Arkham Knight. So this is in that same canon world. We don't see Batman in the trailer as part of the Justice League. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a 1 to 4 player co-op game that you can play single player and have your companions played by AI and switch between them. Game expected to launch for PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC in 2022. So next gen only, supposedly in 2022. What's your thoughts, Chad? Lots of superheroes and
so many good superheroes. I watching this trailer, I was super excited about a lot of things. I was kind of put off by a lot of, well, not put off, but like I'm skeptical of a lot of things. It looks really good. And obviously that shows because it's next gen only, but also this was not gameplay necessarily. There might be parts in there that are scripted or that we just don't know are actually gameplay, but I'm pretty sure it was all CG. VXite, I think fighting the individual members of the Justice League, like if they are just individual bosses throughout the entire game, that's going to be so freaking cool. Just having to figure out, all right, how do we defeat Green Lantern and all of his wild ass things he can think up? How do we defeat, the Flash, and how do we have to figure out how to slow him down or whatever that might be. I think those are going to be really cool puzzles and interesting boss fights. I'm very pumped for that. I don't know. I'm worried that a lot of the enemies seem to be just like random looking weird alien monsters. And so I'm like, oh, it's going to be just a bunch of like weird goons that I'm beating up. Not goons, because goons implies like thugs, but like alien, like weird alien. Here's the problem that I'm really getting at. Avengers, the video game, spoiled. Like I'm spoiled on superhero video games right now. The 1 to 4 player co-op with AI companions already kind of screams a little bit of Avengers the video game. Part of Avengers that I got so tired of is just like we're just fighting a bunch of like faceless, soulless robots all the time, and I'm just tired of fighting robots. And I feel like based on the trailer, I'm like, am I going to give a shit about these alien thingies? Is it just going to be them and things that look like them all over? So I'm a little bit skeptical going into it, but obviously we haven't seen a ton of this video game, and there's so much more to find out. But I'm excited. VXite.
Yeah, when it comes to that, I can definitely see that. Yeah, we're gonna fight a bunch of brainiac goons or whatever. But when you think about the Arkham series, yeah, you just fought dudes in Blackgate or from Arkham. But then the cool stuff is whenever it's like, yeah, I'm gonna fight Zaz, I'm gonna fight Mr. Freeze.
Right.
So I think and it never felt like I'm just fighting. I mean, you were just fighting goons, but it never felt like it. It was still enjoyable to me. Just because the combat was so fun, it didn't matter who I was fighting. And then you got the super cool set piece fights. So unlike Avengers, I trust this team to be able to make that work.
Exactly, yeah.
Even though I love Crystal Dynamic, I'm like, you guys haven't made this kind of game before, and whatever. But I'm with you. But I think that they'll be fine. I'm happy it's next gen only. Leave that last gen in the past. Don't care. Don't want it. Yeah, I'm just very excited for like a cool. Suicide Squad has definitely had a resurgence, man. That James Gunn movie really helped out.
I was thinking about that, and I'm conflicted on that too. Like, is that gonna help it or is that gonna hinder it? Because I mean, I didn't know the Suicide Squad before I was introduced to them in the Arrowverse on the CW, and then the movie came out, and I was like, I really don't care about the Suicide Squad now. And then finally, the James Gunn one came out, and I was like, you know what though, that was a dope fucking movie. So I'm trying to think of like. I don't know if marketing it as this is a Suicide Squad game, is that going to help it or is that going to hinder it? But I think Kill the Justice League is interesting. And that right there is enough of a hook to say, ooh, I get to fight and kill Superman? I get to fight and kill Wonder Woman? That might be what sells this game for me and for a lot of people who don't have any affinity for the Suicide Squad.
I just think that it feels like they're piggybacking off that fun tone that James Gunn has, which definitely helps. Again, it's Rocksteady. They haven't proven me wrong so far. Like their quote unquote worst game is still like a 9 out of 10. So I what are you going to do about it? I'm very excited.
I'm excited to see what they do with a fun thing. Like all of their games have been like super dark Batman, I'm gonna kill you. Now they're just like, we're gonna have a fucking shark that is asking Amanda Waller to blow up this dead guy's head with a taser. It's like,
I know, poor Penguin. They're just like, he's running, he's gone. You gotta get him. Idiots. Oh, love it so much. All right. Speaking of the Penguin, I suppose Gotham Knights gets a new trailer. This is from Joe Scrubbles at IGN, and from my eyes watching my phone while it buffered. This is all about Gotham Knights, the game from WB Montreal, which made Batman Arkham Origins. So it's the other Batman team.
And this one does not take place in that same universe.
This is in its own universe. Yep. The story trailer shows Nightwing talking to supervillain the Penguin, who explains that the Bat family, Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, Red Hood, don't stand a chance in Gotham being run by the deadly secret society, the Court of Owls. So we already get Bat family and Court of Owls, which everyone's very excited for. The trailer goes on to show action scenes featuring the entire Bat family, multiple Talons, which are the zombie, assassin, Court of Owls. There is I can't remember there's a DC animated film. I think it's Batman versus Robin, where Batman fights his son Damian, but it's all about the Court of Owls, and it's very, very good. The Court of Owls is just like, the Illuminati, but if they like killed people with zombies. It's a good time. A separate behind-the-scenes featurette, which is 3 minutes and 11 seconds, included game developers, Court of Owls co-creator Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, the DC CCO Jim Lee discussing the game and its inspirations. Gotham Knights creative director Patrick Redding explains that Talons have been designed in wildly different ways, designed to get players to choose different gear to beat them more effectively. So, quote now, so like any good RPG, we're presenting you with a problem, and then we're presenting you with a range of potential solutions, and then players will have an opportunity to maximize that according to their own style. Gotham Knights supports 2-player drop-in, drop-out co-op. 2022 is the year, but we don't have a release date for the one. That one did get delayed from this year until next. So, all the good stuff about the Knights of Gotham. Give me your thoughts.
Interesting that DC is releasing both of these games in 2022. Like, I feel like that's going to...
Allegedly.
Right, exactly, allegedly. I feel like that's going to cannibalize a little bit. But I'm very excited for 2 things about this game. One, I loved playing as like Nightwing and Robin and all that in the Arkham games. So I think they're going to be really fun to be able to like switch between and play different styles with all of these different types. It's going to be fun. I'm excited for 2-player co-op. I'm curious whether they're going to go like some of the more recent games where you don't have to own a second copy of the game. You can just play online with somebody and they can just download a guest pass. Like, I really hope that's how it is to enable more people to play co-op. But also what I'm interested in this game for is the Court of Owls itself. Like, I have not read a ton of Batman comics, but this is like the very first run that I read was the New 52, which starts with the Court of Owls. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember basically anything that happens in it or anything that was said, but just like Maya Angelou told me I remember how it made me feel. And I remember like, this is kind of fucked up. This is like an entire like psychological twists and all this kind of shit. So it's a really cool source material. But again, we know in this universe, Batman's dead in this game. Like, straight up dead, killed. Not just kidding, he's going to come back later. Like, they've said, no, he is dead. And he was obviously a big part of Batman comic, The Court of Owls. So I'm interested to see how they adapt it for the game and make it interesting with the whole Bat family.
Yes. That's the thing about it being its own canon, because Batman, we know that Bruce Wayne is alive. And the other one, this one, he's dead. I'll also say allegedly, just because Court of Owls seems like a thing that, could do something and make Bruce Wayne seem like he's dead, but actually, Court of Owls, that's their whole moniker. They can do some sneaky shadow stuff. I like how both these games have co-op, and I'm all about playing Red Hood. I just want to shoot people and stab people as part of like the Bat family. It's like, oh, everyone be nice, and then just shoot people. Even though when I watched in the trailer, I'm like, is that Deadpool? Oh no, that's Red Hood. Like his mask, the eyes look like Deadpool. The eyes
exactly like Deadpool. Yep.
It's a weird decision because we've seen other versions of Red Hood where he doesn't look like another character. Either way, I'm excited. I want to see more about. So when they're talking about the RPG mechanics, you mean about like changing your gear or having different tactics? Because I remember watching the first reveal back in the day, like the gameplay behind the scenes thing, and there's like I think there was like, you can't go to this zone, it's too high level and all that kind of thing. So I think we're gonna get more of that sort of a game compared to beat people up and slowly upgrade. I think it'll be more like skill trees, or there's literally numbers like above how hard the enemy was to kill in that version. I don't know if they'll keep that, but they probably will. So again, another game I'm very excited for. I actually like the team. I know people are like half and half on Origins. I think Origins is fine. I think it's pretty fun. And giving me this story, you get to play Batgirl, for God's sake. Whoever thought that was going to happen?
Right.
So, I think it's just cool.
I don't know if she has her own TV show now, so she might get her own standalone game.
Batgirl or Batwoman?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, they're different. But I think Batgirl's getting a movie.
Is
Batgirl's getting a movie.
This begs, is Batboy a thing? Is aside from a baseball position?
There is Batwing.
Which is the Lucius Fly
Fox's
helicopter
son,
thingy, right? Oh,
he's the Iron Man. He's the Iron Man Batman.
Wait a minute. Well, what's the ship called? Like is that not also called the Batwing?
Yeah, they're both called Batwing, I believe. I might be incorrect, but yeah. There's an Iron Man Batman. Whatever. It's crazy. There's too many Batmans. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I hope that it's good.
That reminds me of the Kimmy Schmidt Spider-Man musical. Too many Spider-Men.
There are like 7 Spider-Men at this point.
Yep.
So yeah, 2022. We'll see if they will. You're right. That's kind of weird to put these two games that are very similar. It's like co-op DC, whatever games.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm with you on that one. All right. That's it for Main Quest.
Go watch the Batman trailer, everyone. If you haven't watched
That's
now,
the main thing.
like, go watch it. Shit slaps.
I think DC Fandome overall was really cool. I liked the Batman trailer was great. The Rock was interesting, where he's just in the hood and he blows people up.
Yep.
Ezra Miller, what a weird dude when he's not in costume. Oh my God. Did you see the beginning of that trailer?
No.
So he's very tall and lanky, but he's got like a really, really big, deep V like sweatshirt with a vest on.
Okay.
And it's just so much chest hair. And he's wearing like little round glasses, and he just looks like a weird dude. I don't know. It was weird. I like Ezra Miller as an actor, I suppose, but that was just, I'm like, you look like a hippie from the 70s, but whatever. You're Hollywood.
Isn't he also like
Hollywood,
6 years old or something? He's so young.
Yeah. He's really young. And he's in a really bad Harry Potter spinoff. Speaking of bad Harry Potter spinoffs, Chad, what have you been playing?
I'll start with something that I actually played several weeks ago that I forgot to talk about that I thought was worth just like mentioning. Genshin Impact. This is a game that's like huge in the world right now, especially in China.
Mm-hmm.
It is a Chinese-made game. But a friend of mine, when I went to Seattle a couple of weeks ago, he's really into it. And so he brought it up on his PlayStation and made me play a little bit of it. And I didn't know or care anything about this game, didn't know what it was. To my knowledge, it was a mobile game, but also I guess it's everything. But it is a really like well-polished, full-fledged video game. And I was incredibly impressed with all the different characters and the skills that they have available. And there are different like synergies you can have. So you can choose, you have a team of 4 people that you swap between on the fly. And then you also can like, there are loot boxes. Obviously, that's the way the game makes their money. It's a gacha game. There are loot boxes. You open it up. You hope you get a cool character that you like. Otherwise, it's just some bullshit character that you hate. And you can swap them out on your team at any given time. And so you can pair things together. Like you can have a character that like can make people wet in the not fun way, in like the water way. And then you can switch to a character that has like lightning powers and electrocute them, or switch to a character that has like fire powers and it like makes them have steam that somehow also hurts them. I don't know. Anyway, I was just like incredibly impressed by the game. And there are all the typical MMO things like daily quests to go do in order to unlock resources and upgrade this and that. And it's legit. All this time I'd been thinking like, oh, Genshin Impact, that's that, free to play bullshit game. It's like, no, it's a fully fledged game.
That's solid. Did you continue to play after you came back?
I did not. Ain't nobody got time for that because I also play Destiny 2, which is the love of my life, my soulmate. And we're just back into it. Festival of Lost this year is really fun. They take a departure from the tired there was this infinite forest that they turned into a haunted infinite forest, and it was like, I'm already tired of the regular infinite forest, let alone one that's just dark. But this time they have these lost sectors, which are just like little experiences, and you have to summon these guys with pumpkin heads, and you have to kill them, and you have to summon as many of them you can in 5 minutes, and then there's a big boss that you have to kill while you're like summoning other pumpkin heads that are coming out. It's really fun. V into that. And then finally, here's what I'll talk about.
I had a question for you.
Yes.
About Destiny.
Yes.
I know they're vaulting something. Are you mad, or is it just random people on the internet are mad?
They are vaulting the Forsaken campaign, which includes the Tangled Shore destination. It is a campaign, that comes with it. There's all sorts of like missions and weapons and things like that are getting vaulted, but the exotic weapons usually will end up becoming, you can get them with in-game currency afterwards anyway, but they're vaulting that in order to make room for the upcoming Witch Queen DLC, so that they can like build out the Ascendant Realm, or not the Ascendant Realm, the Throne Room realm as like an entire destination. You can go to someone's throne room or something like that. So they're vaulting that to make room for this, and it's going to be awesome. And the way that they started the vault last year with Beyond Light, and there's like taking content away because anytime they went to go update something, they had to account for so many fucking things, so many game modes, so many planets, so many destinations, so many missions that like everything would break. Make one change to one thing and it breaks so many systems. So they're like, we need to be able to focus on content and polish it and make it really great. And then they're bringing back things from the vault every so often. So they mentioned when Witch Queen comes out in February, they're going to bring back one of the old raids that you could no longer access for the last year and a half. And we'll be finally be able to do it again, but with a new twist and new elements to it. So I'm a fan of that. Because honestly, before the vaulting, like you go into that game and it's still completely overwhelming to new people who don't know what they're doing. But there was just way too much shit to do. And you couldn't tell what was worthwhile and what was just like fluff that was left over. So I'm a fan of them vaulting it. I understand when people are like, but I paid $20 or $30 for the campaign when it came out, and now I can't play anything from that campaign. It's like, yeah, but you're getting a lot of other shit, so calm down.
Okay, cool. I trust you because you played the game.
Yeah, I play the game. I have over 1,000 hours in that game, and I'm going to keep going. I got a SWOLED. I got a Nintendo Switch OLED to play Metroid Dread. I played a little bit of it on my old Switch, and I played most of it on the OLED. So I'll touch a little bit on Metroid Dread to say it's a wonderful experience. Highly recommend. We'll have a much more in-depth review of that sometime in the next week, so look out for that. But I just wanted to take this minute to shit all over Nintendo Switch and their awful, awful system migration, and the fact that buying a new Switch is the most abhorrent process in 2021. So I finally did get one. I got this white OLED. I'm gonna hold them up side by side. Hold, please.
Okay. He's going to get the OLED. I will sit here and just let you know, hey, how's your day? Hope it's good. You're beautiful inside and out. It was good. I love you. Okay.
So here's my new sexy.
Okay.
Here's the old piece of trash. And it really does feel like a piece of trash now. Like holding these two side by side, this old ass Switch with its enormous bezels and its plasticky screen, like this is a glass screen. It's so sexy. It honestly, after playing my SWOLED for a little bit, like this feels like a trashy 1945 Fisher-Price pretend game console. And then I pick up my OLED and it's like, wow, this feels like if sex were an object. That's what this feels like.
That's what that would be?
It would be a SWOLED Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
So I got it after some like big old mess with Best Buy and telling me I had an order reserved, and then I didn't. And then the manager's like, sorry, I don't know what happened, but the next one that comes into our store is yours. I was like, great, awesome. Anyway, I get these systems, and you already know Nintendo's fucked up when it comes to online services. We know that not every game, even though you have a Nintendo online service, which we'll talk more about later, you have access to cloud saves, but not every game has cloud saves, including all of the Pokemon games, including Animal Crossing Islands, including Dark Souls, including a bunch of things that you would think, those are important saves that I would like to keep. And so you have to move them over Nintendo does allow you to say, transfer my profile over. So if I have a profile on my Switch, linked to my Nintendo account, I can bring that over, and it links that to my new one, and it carries over my friends and things like that. But save data has to be moved manually. It will take your cloud saves that you have, and on your new Switch, you can go in there and you can look at all your cloud saves, but it will not download them automatically. It even tells you you have to download these manually the first time before they start updating themselves. And you have to go game by game. It's 3 clicks per save. Click the game, click the download icon, click whatever the prompt comes up. You have to do that game by game. So if you're a person who actually like plays their Switch, unlike me, I don't play mine very often. If you're a person that has a bunch of games on there, that is so many clicks the very first time you open up your Switch before you even have some of your save files. And then you have to go and find out which ones don't live in the cloud. And there's not an easy notify. Like, you can't go in here and say, in the same tool where you're transferring things, you can't go in here and say, all right, which of these are cloud saves and which of these aren't. It doesn't have a symbol to let you know. And so on your new Switch, you have to go and say, all right, let me look at all the cloud saves on the new one. And then let me compare a list of all the saves on the old one and see what's not there. So you had to go line by line, alphabetically, and say, oh, I don't have that game on my new Switch. And once you see it there, you can't just click on it and say transfer. You have to back out of that menu, go to a separate menu for transferring saves, do the same thing on your new Switch, go to a separate menu, choose the one game at a time that you want to move over and transfer it. And then you have to go back out of that after it's done transferring, look at the lists again, find the next game, go back. It is abhorrent, the fact that we're in this in 2021, that we can't just move shit over easily. Even with like a wire, that would be so easy. Or saving it to an SD card.
It seems like people would be willing to pay $25 for a cable that lets you do it easily. They'd be like, fuck it, I'll just pay the $25.
Right? So all of that was a big old headache. But to add insult to injury, I have this 128 gigabyte SD card in my old Switch. And you cannot just simply remove the card and put it in the new Switch. If you put it in a new Switch, the new Switch says, this was used with the previous Switch. You must format this card to use it with this one.
And delete everything.
So you have to delete everything. There is, if you have 2 SD cards and you want to copy them over using Windows Explorer on your PC and have them both in at the same time, drag the materials from one to the other, and then use the new one with your Switch, you can do that. But otherwise, if you're in my situation where, no, I don't want to have 2 random SD cards laying around that I'm not going to use one of, you have to then go and re-download all of your games after you format your hard drive. So I prioritized Metroid Dread getting that in there first, but then it was like the next day and a half before I finally had all of my games on my Switch. It was trash. It was trash. And Nintendo sent me a survey several hours after I got my Switch, and I let them know how trash they are. But Metroid Dread's good.
That's what it is, man. Nintendo is a strange company and seems to be really by the times, but then it's like the games are good. It's like, all right, I guess.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
So now I've got this old Switch, and so I've been talking about how I've been having like Bluetooth problems with my Switch, right? Where like if I raise my leg up and it like blocks the signal between the controller and the Switch, things will happen. All of that solved in my new Switch. Even with the old Joy-Cons on the new Switch, everything works fine. So I guess this old piece of Fisher-Price trash right here, it's garbage. It's a garbage product.
Gotcha. What do you plan to do with the old garbage?
Well, it has all of the kind of funny people signatures on it. So I'm going to hang on to it and probably like display it with all of my old Game Boys and shit. It's also literally the very first, he told me this as he was signing it, this is the very first signature of Johnny L. Ace Esquire. That's his very first signature he's ever signed, is on my Switch.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I'm probably just going to put it on my wall somewhere.
Yeah, that's a keeper. Put it backwards or whatever.
Yep.
I like that. Cool. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the console. It sucks that it is literally in 2003 is in terms of like usability, but it's pretty and Dread seems fun. So that's good. Let's look at the positives.
That's it. That's all I played this week. You're up.
Cool. We got a couple things on my list. I beat Far Cry 6. Took me, what was that, 5 days or I don't remember when the game came out. I'm not good with time.
Tuesday? Was it
didn't take
Tuesday? I
very
feel
long.
like it was a Tuesday release.
It came out on a Thursday. I don't know if it was last Thursday. No, it has been 2 Thursdays ago because we record. Yeah, so it didn't take me too long. I beat the game, story, most of the side stuff. I still got other stuff I can do if I want to. And then there's weeklies already, so that's nice. You can just like go run around and do weekly stuff that they change every week. I'm waiting for Danny Trejo. I'm waiting for Winona Ryder from Stranger Things one of these days. I don't know. We'll figure that out when it gets there. But the reason I mention this is because later this week, you want to get on patreon.com/respawnaimfire. Because you'll get early access to my Far Cry 6 spoiler-filled review with the one and only Jacob McCourt from Left Behind Game Club, from Cutscenes Podcast, and from Video Game Trivia. Jacob is awesome. Check him out on Twitter. He has a great podcast, and me and him are going to talk about Far Cry 6, and we're going to be recording that later this week, and we'll put it up on Patreon, then it'll go live for everybody else a couple days after that. So, very excited to talk about Far Cry 6 with a cool Canadian guy that I like a lot.
Dope. I cannot wait to watch that whole spoiler cast and not play the game.
Giancarlo.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the Red Dead thing that I did, where I just listen to everyone else talk about all the spoilers, and then maybe I play the game 3 years from now.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Little preview. I enjoyed the game, but if you're like you, it's fine to wait or not play it. I think I can't remember. I was talking to somebody on Twitter, and they were like, I didn't finish 5, but I liked the game. It was pretty fun. I'm like, you will love this game. Wait for a sale because you're probably not going to beat it all at one go, but it's still worth the play, but you don't need to spend $60. But I still think we'll talk about it. But if you like Far Cry, you absolutely should buy it. If you're in the middle, maybe wait, but I think it's still good. Back 4 Blood. Oh boy, let me tell you how shocked I was. So Back 4 Blood came out, last week, and I had it downloaded from day one. And I was like, all right, but I know that game had things where like the solo progression wasn't great.
Right.
Apparently like your rewards are like super, super down compared to when you play co-op. I was like, all right, then I'll wait. And then I waited and waited and waited. And I finally played it for the first time today. And oh boy, that game is great. It is legitimately Left 4 Dead in 2021 and all the positives that come with that. I'm like, oh yeah, this is Left 4 Dead, but this is modern. And Back 4 Blood is amazing. Especially, it came out perfect time of year. I was seeing somewhere, I don't know if they were verified tweets, but someone on Twitter was like, it's the second most successful game on Game Pass. Like Minecraft was number 1, and then
I was literally just looking up, is it on Game Pass? So
yeah, it's on Game Pass on PC, and it's like extremely successful on Game Pass, and I think just overall, I think like its Steam concurrence for like 70,000, which is like extremely good. That's like Rainbow Six Siege gets like 30, and Siege is considered successful. So awesome. I think it's great. I'm gonna keep on playing it. I'm very early on. There's 4 acts, and I'm like halfway through Act 1, and I've been playing for a couple of hours. So there's a lot of content there, and it's super good with friends, man. It's like I got pounced. Yeah. It's funny because we don't know the name of the monster or the zombies yet, because in Left 4 Dead, it's like, oh, there's a smoker, there's a spitter, there's a tank or whatever. And this one, like, it's Tall Boy. Tall Boy's there. Get him before he punches us. Or it's like, old big bloaty dude. I don't know their names yet, but it's been a good time. Played that for a couple hours a day and really enjoyed myself. Are you gonna play?
I love it. The fact that it's on Game Pass makes me 100% more likely to play that game, which means I will play that game. Whereas before I was like, I liked Left 4 Dead, but you're right, it's so much fun with friends, but I don't remember it being a good time by itself. So the fact that it's on Game Pass, if I can find some people to play it with, yeah, absolutely.
Yep, it's great. And again, it's on PC and Xbox Game Pass. So if you got access to either one of those, people, try it out. I highly recommend it, or pay for it, for people on PlayStation, or people just want to support the supervisors, the developers.
The supervisors.
Fuck the supervisors. I think it's a definitely a must buy. I'm glad I don't have to buy it. I'll probably buy DLC or something just to support those dudes, but it's a great time. And lastly, this is a fun one because it's not really a big deal, but there's a thing around it. So I played Madden 22. Like, Adam, that's a football game, cool, I guess. So they finally did the thing. The game came out in August, and they're like, we got a big update for franchise mode where people play by themselves. You build your team up, whatever, you go through the years, and you try to make your team good. They finally added a big update that was supposed to be near the beginning of the game. They delayed it a little bit. COVID, whatever. It's fine. So they finally put that in the game. Like, cool. Now I can scout my player. This is so nerdy. I can scout my players by region. So it's like I'm sending a Peyton Manning. He's going to the West Coast and he's going to scout for me. Whatever. No, only a couple people know what I'm talking about. That's cool. So it's like I can actually play the single player mode now. But I was like, what am I going to play as? Because I'm a Colts fan. People who watch the video, I literally always have my Colts hoodie on. But I was like, whenever you do it, I take over as a coach. I'm like, I don't want to fire my real coach because I like my real coach. So I feel guilty if I make Adam Gumbert the coach and Frank Wright's out of a job. I like that dude. But I honestly feel guilty about it. The thing is, this last weekend, the coach of the Las Vegas Raiders got fired, named John Gruden, and everyone say, fuck John Gruden. He's an awful human being. He's been in the league for 30, 20 years or whatever, right? He got in trouble. He got caught because he was sending racist, misogynistic, and homophobic emails back and forth, and they got leaked. Yeah, I'm like, bro, he hit all three. He's done. Yep. And literally that day, and like the next day, the team's like, yo, like he resigned, quote unquote, whatever. I think it's like a thing because he had like a guaranteed contract. So maybe if he resigns, he loses more money compared to getting fired. I don't know. But fuck John Gruden. He's out of the league. No one ever needs to talk about this guy again. He's trash. Someone's like, perfect opportunity. This guy sucks. I have no problem firing him and getting him out of the game. Adam Gumbert, coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. So yes. I just started that, having a good time, taking control of that team. So it's been great.
That's awesome.
No, that's just a fun little story.
That makes me, honestly, I don't honestly think I've ever played a football game, either soccer or American football.
We're going to talk about it later.
But the fact that you just mentioned, like, oh, I can send Peyton Manning over here to go scout people and build up my team, like that makes me think of like Peace Walker, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, Metal Gear Solid 5, where you're like, or Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, where you're like, all right, I'm going to send out little scouts, we're going to build a little crew, and I'm going to get better and better people, and they're going to go on better missions and bring back loot and all that. Like that sounds fun and interesting to me.
Yeah, no, Madden franchise is literally just an RPG. Like you're like, all right, I'm going to get, I have my coaches, like I'm the head coach. I have skill points in a skill tree that help out my offensive and my defensive coordinator so I can make them better. And then they can go coach somewhere else and I can build my players up. I'm like, yo, I'm really good at helping running backs. So like I drafted a running back late and I'm like, yo, I'm putting all the skill points in your speed. And this guy's just super fast. Like it's literally just an RPG where you play American football. That's all that Madden is anymore, which I fucking love. That's my favorite part of the shit.
That's great.
So that was fun. And yeah, fuck John Gruden. And I'm going to take the Raiders to the playoffs. We're going to have a good time. All right. We'll go ahead and move on to our quest log for the day. We got some doozies in here. You heard about it at the top of the show, but there's some, it goes from things that I don't care about, but I had to talk about, to things that are wild stories till, meme shit. It's all good. First, we're going to start with the Holden Memorial Nintendo segment. And we're going to talk about everything from the Animal Crossing Direct. This is from multiple stories and writers, but most of them are from GameSpot.com. All right, so this is Animal Crossing Direct, happened early last week. We got a lot of information about Animal Crossing and Nintendo's subscription plan, which that was also fun on Twitter. We'll go ahead and start here. As part of the Animal Crossing Direct, Nintendo announced the first paid expansion for Animal Crossing New Horizons called Happy Home Paradise. $25 expansion launches on November 5th. Takes place on a different island. The expansion calls on players to build new homes for villagers. You can select which island to build their vacation home on, multiple seasons, weather. You can see Adam doesn't care, but I'm going to keep reading it. So different islands, different weather. You build stuff for the people. You can design interior and exterior. The players can take over vacant buildings on the island, which is weird that there's vacant. Like, is this an apocalypse? Why are all these buildings vacant? It's weird.
It's post-COVID, man. 5 million people died.
Yeah, all the animals. They could not get vaccinated. They're animals. They can't take it. The Roost, which is it's a coffee thing in the museum or something, will finally make its debut in Animal Crossing New Horizons next month. As previously teased, the coffee shop will take its place in the town's museum following the release of a new update, also November 5th. The update is much more significant than we previously realized, with additions like Cap'n, permanent ladders, customization options, and a lot more, marking the last, this is in bold, the last free major content update for New Horizons. This is it, the end of the line for free content. You've gone through your seasons, you've had your Bunny Day twice. They're like, yo, this is it for free
stuff. Are we not going to get more Bunny Day eggs ever again?
You might get Bunny Day eggs, but you won't get new stuff for Bunny Day eggs.
Good.
You're gonna get the same
Old
stuff.
They're gonna be
free.
like, you're gonna find that hard-boiled egg somewhere in your house in a
fucking
year.
stinks.
Like, oh god.
So basically, there's a ton of stuff in that update. I would specifically say go to GameSpot.com for the full breakdown. Smiley face from Adam, because again, it's just so many words that I don't know what it's talking about because I don't play Animal Crossing. But there's a lot. This is a big update, a lot of free stuff, and it's the last free thing you're gonna get. Leading into this, the previously announced Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack subscription plan finally has a price. $50 for a single person, $50 a year for a single person, or $80 for the family membership. Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack gives you all the content in the standard Nintendo Switch Online. You also get N64 games, Genesis games, and then you get the Animal Crossing Happy Home Paradise DLC included in that as well. So this is where people were like, oh, cool, we finally have a price for that thing. Oh, wait, why is it literally a times and a half what I was paying for N64 games and Genesis games? People were upset about the price. Some people were like, what are you talking about? It's fine. You get a $25 expansion with it. People were going back and forth. Is it too much? Is it not enough? I have my thoughts, of course. What do you think? And again, we have to play respect because this is a memorial for Holden. So just keep that in mind when we're doing this. But
this is Holden's eulogy right here.
Yeah. How do you feel about these prices?
So many complex thoughts about this. One, or just first and foremost, what a sad time for Animal Crossing that this is the news that gets like, there's, I guess, so many cool things in the Roost or whatever the fuck people who play Animal Crossing like that were announced, but this is the only thing people are talking about. What a shitty way for them to like.
Yep. Just put it all together.
Yep. Secondly, there are so many like unknowns and confusing things. Like, why is there not a version of Nintendo Switch Online that doesn't include DLC for a game that maybe I don't own? Or maybe I don't care about. Like, why do I have to pay $30 extra for an included $25 expansion? And then also, what happens after year one? Is the Animal Crossing DLC a subscription-based DLC? Do I have to continue paying that? Or does the $30 just now not even include the expansion after I paid for it once, but I'm still paying $30 whole for it the second year? That's confusing as well. Is there going to be eventually one day one that comes without an Animal Crossing at a reduced price for people who don't give a fuck about that game?
Or another game that has DLC, maybe.
Or another game, perhaps. Yeah, maybe year two is like, hey, do you not give a shit about Cooking Mama? Well, now you get $25 worth of Cooking Mama shit. Perfect. Great. So yeah, that's still, like, there are a lot of unknowns about it that are really confusing. And then the other thing for me is that I'm pissed off a little bit because when you get to charging $50 a year for an individual plan, that gets, oftentimes you can find, PlayStation Plus and Game Pass and stuff like that for deals that will be less than $50 a year for those services, which are.
I paid $35 for your PS Plus, by the way. Just letting everyone know.
That's what I get, and you can buy those and you can stack them too. So I have like 3 years of PS Plus built up right now, and the service that you get for that exponentially outweighs what we're starting. Like, Nintendo Switch Online's best feature was that it was $20 a year, and now it has no excuse. The cloud save's not being universal across everything. The fact that you have to move them over manually like that. The fact that it includes a few games up front. Like, they did announce some really cool N64 games that everyone likes that they've played a trillion times, like all the like Mario Kart N64. They had Legend of Zelda. They said, hey, both Zeldas are coming.
Oh. Also, remember when they said this is your only chance to buy Mario 64 on your Switch and then took it away, and now they're giving it back to you? Yeah.
Yep. So, like, it has some N64 games, but are those worth $30 extra a year to play those games? Also, you better be pretty happy with that selection as it is right now, because if Nintendo's shown us anything over the last several years of its online service, it starts out with a few games you care about and then gives you nothing but horse shit for the rest of time, rolled out sporadically, maybe every couple of months. So all these people who are like, yeah, the ones who are there right now are great, I'm going to play them, but I'm excited to see what they bring out. I hope they bring this game. Like, those games aren't coming. Do not buy this service hoping to get whatever it is down the line, because you're going to be very disappointed. Also, we've already talked about how weird it is that Genesis is on there, and they're creating a Genesis controller, a first-party Nintendo Genesis controller to play those games. But yeah, it's just a bunch of unfortunate shit around all of this, especially comparing it to services. Like, I don't know if you've ever tried to play Smash Bros. Online, and not just because the online client within Smash Bros. Sucks ass, and the way that it's structured sucks ass, but also just the match, just playing a match, it's unplayable at times just because of lag and things just failing in the middle of a match. So, like, and they're not going to improve that. They're not going to do anything to improve that. They're just going to take your money and give you a few N64 games that you care about.
Yeah, I'm kind of on your... So, I can see... I was talking to my friend Erica, who... This is perfect for her because she likes N64 games and she loves Animal Crossing. I'm like, for you, $50, that's fine. For her, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's cool. I feel like there are people that this absolutely works for. $50... Again, it's 1.5 times more than you were paying originally, which I don't think is worth it. But I can see the people that do think it's worth it because they like N64 games. They'll play that. People will legitimately play like Ocarina of Time again. And then she was going to buy a $25 expansion pass, so she might as well pay an extra $5 and get a bunch of other games. That's cool. Makes sense for her. I get that. For me, like, again, if I was to have this service, I don't want to spend $30 extra to play 20-year-old games. I'm sorry. I'm not that dude. I don't care. And I also wouldn't play Animal Crossing DLC. Like, to me, this offers nothing. Now, if it was like, hey, here's the Plus expansion pass, there's voice chat now. There's actually servers so you can play games online and they don't suck ass. That would be great, but they're adding basically nothing and, charging that much more. Again, it's great that the old option's still there. They didn't get rid of it. So you can still... If you just want the bare minimum, you can still pay $20 and get the bare minimum and play. The reason I don't also trust the N64 stuff is how they handled the NES and Super NES. Like, it was really cool for a year and then they just stopped. Yeah. And you just got actual trash. So I see both cases where certain people who love Animal Crossing and want to play N64 games, yeah, $50 isn't that a year? Really not that bad if that's what you want. I can see this other large group of people who are also like, I don't want any of that shit, and that's fucking stupid. And I'm on that side, but I don't even own a Switch. It doesn't even matter. I'm not your target audience. Yeah, I can see, like, it's weird. So it's like, here we have 2 tiers. First tier is for everybody. The second tier is for the niche ass fucking group, and then that's it. That's what we got. So I don't know. I guess if this was me, I wouldn't get it. I can see the few people who are like, this is great. I understand what you're saying, but as a service and in comparison to literally every other subscription service on the planet, it's not good.
Yeah.
But
and you know what else it is?
My opinion.
It's also, for all of these games that you're going to get, N64 and Genesis, it's going to be the worst version of these games. Like, the worst way to play these games. Because they are straight up only going to emulate them. They're adding online play, like online co-op to
which is nice
and competitive to some of the N64 stuff. But still, like, the Genesis games have come out in so many different collections over the years for a ton of different systems that you can buy them with better textures, higher resolution, more modern features. The N64, like Banjo-Kazooie, you can play that like upscaled to 4K right now on your Xbox as part of Game Pass. You can play Super Mario 64. You can play that in the collection that came out last year in much better resolution with more modern features, where you're going to go back to all the old janky shit from the N64 days if you get this online plan. Same with the Zelda games. Like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, they're going to be really crappy compared to what you're used to playing, especially if you played them on 3DS. Like those, the 3DS versions, the 3DS versions are super upgraded visuals. You have motion control aiming that you're not going to have in this N64 version. You're going to go back and look at these games in 480p on your giant 4K television and be like, why did I like this? It's going to kill everything you loved about all these N64 and Genesis games. There are better ways to play most of these games out there than this service that is way overpriced and is stupid. I thought I had mixed feelings about it. I don't have mixed feelings anymore. I hate this. But for people,
I see where it makes sense.
You're right. For people who like Animal Crossing, like I'm on Holden's family plan, and I told Holden, listen, if the difference between you paying $30 or extra and $60 extra because I'm on his family plan is, if I'm just the difference for that, like, please kick me out of your family and only pay the $30 extra. But he's like, no, I'm getting the Animal Crossing DLC anyway, which is going to be $25, and then my brother's on it. I'm like, that's fine.
Cool.
For people who like Animal Crossing, they're getting a DLC with an extra $5 of N64 and Genesis content. For people who don't give a fuck about Animal Crossing, you're getting just fucked. If you subscribe to the service, it's worthless. Don't get it.
Yeah, like I said, there's a very specific group of people. And again, there are 34 million people who bought Animal Crossing. So there's a decent amount of people who this would probably interest. Yeah, I'm just not one of them. But yeah, so I think it's just weird. I hope that they maybe give us another tier or another thing. Because I'm with you. What happens in a year when, like, why would I in 2022 pay $50 a year for N64 games and a year-old DLC? Right. So I want to see, hopefully they switch that up or added it. I don't know. I'd like to see it. The way this is now, I see who it helps and I see who it doesn't. So I can see both sides on Twitter. Again, I honestly just give me in-game voice chat and better servers. That would be great. I would love that for more money.
Charge $80 a month for a family subscription to an online service that doesn't have voice chat.
But you got your Switch OLED, so everything's good.
That's right. Got my Switch OLED and it's white, and that's all I cared about.
All right, moving on from that. FIFA and EA are having marital issues, or just issues in general, relationship. This is Kat Bailey at IGN.com. Now, walk through me with this, Chad, because I know I don't even watch soccer, really. I mean, I watch Ted Lasso, that's great. I don't really watch football. I don't play FIFA, but the story's crazy, and I'm very interested in this. And I've got a question for you at the end. Don't read ahead.
All right.
EA's FIFA franchise has a virtual monopoly in the video game soccer space, overshadowing Pro Evolution Soccer, which doesn't exist anymore, while ranking in hundreds of millions of dollars from FIFA Ultimate Team. But recent events are going to put that dominance under threat, with FIFA issuing a release saying future games must involve more than one party. Oh, FIFA saying you can't be the only ones, EA Sports. In the new statement, FIFA pronounced itself bullish over the future of games and esports. The statement also appeared to explicitly denounce the current state of the football gaming market, which has been ruled by EA for years now. Its biggest impact is apt to be on the name itself. FIFA reportedly wants to charge EA $1 billion every 4 years to continue using its name, which EA has used since the mid-90s. EA is reportedly looking into changing FIFA's name to EA Sports FC in response, which is football club. People who like soccer know that. So that's the thing, that FIFA is like, hey, you want to use the name FIFA, we need our Skrilla. And I've seen things where like EA is like, we can make deals with the teams individually and have the same roster and not have to pay you at all if you want to be like that. In its own statement...
Hold on. Before we read EA's statement, I'm slightly confused on what FIFA wants. FIFA's saying we need more FIFA games out there other than just what EA is making.
We'll get through it. Basically, FIFA's like, we want more money, and EA was like, we don't want to use your name if you want to charge more money. And they're like, we want other people to use our name so we can make money. It's basically like, oh my god, our relationship's so good, and then let me see your check or let me see your phone. They're like, fuck you. Yeah. Kind of a thing. It's basically, like they want more money, and then the only partner they've ever had was like, why should we, this is stupid. Why would we pay you that much? And now they're like, well, we're looking for other partners now.
Right.
In its own statement, EA wrote, the breadth of our partnerships and our ecosystem of licensed content will enable us to continue to bring unrivaled authenticity in our EA Sports football games now and for many years to come. Again, talking about they have deals with the teams so they can still give you a full football game. As we look ahead, we're also exploring the idea of renaming our global EA Sports football games. This means reviewing our naming rights agreement with FIFA, which is separate from all of our other official partnership and licenses across the football world. So in a similar way on Madden, they're making an NCAA football game now, but they couldn't for a while because NCAA had problems, whatever, there was a whole thing. But they were able to talk to like 10 colleges. So like when you play like Madden career mode, it's like, do you want to go to Oklahoma, Miami, Florida? Like they had real colleges, but they made deals individually, which is what it sounds like. All right. So that's the whole thing. FIFA wants money. EA doesn't want to pay them money anymore. That's too much money. Whatever. This is all me now. This is no longer Kat Bailey. This is just a fun little history of the FIFA as the organization. FIFA has been full of controversy for over a decade, including bribing, rigging, corruption, wire fraud, racketeering, and money laundering, and swaying officials via prostitution. So, all that said, Chad, which corporation are you taking sides with?
You're right in that FIFA has been the subject of a John Oliver's Last Week Tonight episode on multiple occasions because of the corruption and all the shit that they do. So the fact that they've made like that big of a headline on my radar, it's like, oh yeah, maybe I won't. Maybe I won't support FIFA in this. But EA's they're not the greatest. They've made some bad decisions too, but they've been turning over some leaves, with Jedi Fallen Order and some stuff. So if I have to side with one, great, it'll be EA. But I don't have to.
You don't have to.
I don't have to buy a soccer game either way. But
yeah,
whether it's a FIFA game or EA Sports Football Club, whatever. Yeah,
I just think it's funny because
fuck.
Yeah, FIFA's an awful organization. For them to come at EA and be like, we're going to do, like, you are literally the most corrupt organization in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna, that's being facetious because there are, like, banks that, try to put 100 million people in poverty every year. But, yeah, it's like they're just like, oh, we don't need you. We'll do something else. And it's funny because the only other competition is what used to be Pro Evolution Soccer, which is now, I forgot what that game that Konami or whatever put out, which is literally like the worst reviewed game on Steam of all time. Like the game, it doesn't even work. It's just like these arguments kill me. But yeah, no, like EA, people don't like EA, but at the end of the day, EA is like a video game company that try to charge you for a costume compared to FIFA, which is actually like legally breaks the law over stuff. So it's just a crazy story, but fuck, it's so annoying that FIFA is like, oh, we're happy with you as long as you give us money, but now that we're upset, we want to see other people. And it's like, you were always awful. You were always an awful person, FIFA.
Right.
Like, again, I don't care about soccer. I just think the actual story around this is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with EAFC Football Club, whatever. Ted Lasso. That's all I care about.
I just want a Ted Lasso game. That's all I want.
Yes, I'm sure someone has made FC Richmond in FIFA. Speaking of things I care about, GTA leak proves that Adam's love of memes is correct. This is from James Carr at GameSpot. I was right, everybody. So the achievements for the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition have allegedly leaked, and they seem to contain a few references to old GTA secrets and memes. All 3 achievement lists were shared on GTA forums by user Allocator. Sure. Allocate. Oh, God, you're right. Allocator.
There you go.
Yeah, you're right. Complete with both achievement names and description. The GTA San Andreas list.
I don't want everyone just to be out there like the word is allocator and there's an 8 in there. It's leet speak. It was difficult to read. Adam's he can read. He's great.
I can kind of read. GTA San Andreas list includes two meme references, one of which originated in San Andreas. This is the number one, this is the only thing that matters. One of the achievements is titled "Here We Go Again," which is a reference to the meme of CJ saying the line in GTA San Andreas. I'm glad they did it. Maybe they don't use it in marketing, but I was like, yo, if you don't use "Here We Go Again" somewhere in this game, you're fucking stupid. And they're like, yo, our achievement is fucking called "Here We Go Again." I'm like, all right, you guys figured it out. Maybe I'll buy your game and not play it just because I respect you. The other San Andreas meme is "They Can't Stop Us All." For sneaking to the underground base without setting off the alarm in the Black Project mission, reference to the Storm Area 51 meme, where people were going to storm Area 51 and they can't stop us all. And the last achievement is titled 81 Years Too Late. It's when you try to find Bigfoot, and there's a whole thing where in Red Dead Redemption, you find Bigfoot and kill him. Yeah, it's a whole thing because people thought the Bigfoot was in that game, and people would be like, "Where's the Bigfoot? He's insane. I heard if you go to the woods and walk around, it's whatever." And then they put Bigfoot in the next game, whatever. So, Rockstar gets memes. They made me happy. Here we go
That's
again.
Great.
That's all that I need. That's the only reason I put the story in, is because it's specific to me. So, still not gonna get those games, huh?
Nah.
Yeah. Neither. It's cool that they're there. Next up. Dragon Age 4 is next gen only. It's from Jared Moore at IGN.com. As shared on Twitter, experience listed on the LinkedIn profile for Dragon Age 4's lead player designer Daniel Nordlander seems to suggest the game will only feature as a console release for PS5 and Xbox Series S. If you look at this guy's LinkedIn, it's like, I'm working on Dragon Age 4 and it's only for Xbox Series X and PS5 is basically what his LinkedIn profile says. GameSpeech Jeff Grubb also separately reports to confirm rumors that EA is planning a next-gen only console release for the game. At present, there has been no official comment from EA or from BioWare on which consoles that Dragon Age 4 will release. but a dude who worked there said so, and Jeff Grubb said so. So, and also, I think it just makes sense.
Yeah. This game is going to come out far enough removed from the new console launches that it would be weird if it still, like, it would seem archaic if it still came out on those older consoles. But I tell you what, this does get me, as little excitement as I have for the Dragon Age franchise, this does bump that up one little tick mark. Like, oh, I wonder if it's going to look great and have ray tracing and have like complex systems that couldn't be in anything else.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited for Dragon Age because I like old big fantasy stuff. And then every time that they've showed, like in progress, us working on the game, I'm like, yeah, that's not going to be last gen. That all looks like new gen stuff. There's all the lenticular lighting. That's a real thing. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not last gen. It's kind of funny looking at this gen of games. I remember going from from PS3 to PS4, 360 to Xbox One. There was a lot of cross-gen games for like the first 2.5-ish years. And even with the limited supply this year, it seems like those last gen versions are just trash, and companies are not trying to do it straight up. Which I think is interesting how quickly, because I remember Dragon Age being on both, being basically a launch window for the new gen consoles and being fine on the old gen consoles. But this time, like, you look at Battlefield 2042 on last gen, it's literally like half the players, and like the map's smaller. Like it's not even close compared to like it was fine before, and now it's just like we don't have enough teraflops. We need to get the new systems. Yep. So I think that's interesting. More floppies. It's nice if you own them, then it's great.
Yep.
If you're struggling, I feel for you. But if you got them, it's nice to just give me the power. Give me that instant loading.
Do you think this just hit me?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think floppy disks represent like one flop? Like a 3.5-inch floppy disk. Is that one flop? And a teraflop is like, what is that, millions or billions of floppy disks worth of power?
So when the new consoles were coming out, actually when the mid-generation things were coming out and they started talking about teraflops, I talked to a dude at work who likes video games, and he remembers, he's older than me, like he's like in his 40s or whatever, and he remembers back in the day of PCs, like that teraflops were like an idea, or it's like theoretically this is what a teraflop would be. So I guarantee when they had floppy disks, like theoretically if you had enough of these you would get a teraflop, and now it's just can I just buy a teraflop, please? So yes, they knew about teraflops when they made floppy disks.
Can I get a double cheeseburger, a large fry, and a teraflop, please? Thank you.
Just throw some chips at you, the computer chips. It's great. But yeah, if everyone gets their new nice systems and their GPU cards and all that, leave that old gen in the past. Don't want it. It's holding me back. All right, and this is a fun one. It's just as silly, and I was very happy when I saw it. Xbox mini fridge pre-orders announced. This is from Steve Petit at GameSpot. Microsoft has announced the Xbox mini fridge pre-orders will be available starting October 19th. So for you podcast goes people, up. Today, Xbox mini fridge will cost $100. In the US and Canada, the fridge will only be sold at Target, and it will ship in December. This fridge is designed to mirror the Xbox Series X, has LED lights as well as a USB port to charge devices, and it holds about 12 cans of Mountain Dew. I mean, it's a mini fridge. It's a mini fridge. It's basically a novelty mini fridge. I believe Fallout had one of these as one of like their big additions of their game. It was like a Nuka-Cola like mini fridge that held like 4 cans or whatever it was.
Who was the celebrity that they sent this to? That not the mini. They sent like a full-fledged Xbox Series X version. They sent a full-size one to Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg, that's who it was.
They sent him a full-size fucking 6-foot goddamn refrigerator that looked like an Xbox Series X, which is great. Xbox Aaron Greenberg noted on Twitter that the mini fridge isn't limited edition, but it is Microsoft is manufacturing as many as we can this holiday. The second batch of units will be available early next year. So it's not limited edition. They're going to make more, but they did say it's going to be like not super easy. They're not making like 10 million of them. Like,
right. Chip shortage, man.
Yeah, you need chips for your... how much you bet you
USB-A
need?
Charging probably, and the LED lights.
Yeah. I bet your new refrigerators will actually have fucking computing chips in them. I fucking guarantee that they do.
I mean, new refrigerators now have like screens on them that scan everything in your thing and tell you, hey, you need eggs next time you're at the grocery store.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you can have a PlayStation 5 or a refrigerator. And then Samsung made the decision for you and just bought all the chips so you couldn't have PS5s. Do Samsung make refrigerators? I guess Frigidaire.
I think so, yeah.
I feel like Samsung does as well. But mini fridge, for $100, man, I could see myself doing one because that's really not that expensive. Just for a silly novelty thing. I don't know. We'll see. If I walk into a Target at Christmas time and it's there, maybe. I don't know about pre-ordering one, but it's a fun, silly thing. They lean into the joke. This is what happens, right? The internet became a thing, and then memes became a thing, and now people are like, "Well, we got to do the memes." Like again, they're just like they probably were like, "Hey, can somebody, a third-party manufacturer, make us some refrigerators? Because whatever, we'll sell them." And then GTA is like, yeah, people liked when CJ said that thing, so we'll put it in the game. So yeah, like your memes could become dreams.
Memes can become dreams. That's our motto now. That's the Respawning Fire motto.
Mm-hmm. Great. Awesome. Now, I got a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
You're not going to buy a refrigerator, but will you follow me into the dark, spooky basement
into the unknown,
where we have our segment from Adam's weekly segment, and we're going to be talking about
weekly segment. We need a jingle.
Yeah, I'll come up with that super quick. And this week, got on Twitter. I said, "Hey, fellow RAFers, help me out here. We're going to do a spooky gaming interrogative." That's what we're doing for the weekly segment. We're going to talk about the spooky games. I asked, like, "Hey, what's a good spooky game?" And we're going to talk about spooky games. So first, I'm going on Twitter right now. So this is a reply to my retweet. And this is old DFN Smitty. Is he still 3D printing that lightsaber stand? Or
he today has switched to wanting to smash his 3D printer in a million pieces.
Oh, that's not good.
Some sort of driver thing and having to learn to code in the middle of the night. So yeah, he's not happy with it.
That's rough. But the tweet was, need some help. Oh, follow us on Twitter at RespawningFire. Need some help for tonight's recording of the show. Tell us your favorite / best horror games you played. And we're going to talk about the best horror games that people can go play this spooky time of the year.
Ooh.
This is from DFN Smitty. Resident Evil series. I'm a huge baby when it comes to scary games, though. Chad told me Control wasn't scary and I was shitting my pants the entire time. Man, Control is unsettling for sure. There's definitely like,
it is.
I don't feel good here.
It's not scary though.
No.
But it's very unsettling and unnerving and fantastic, and everyone should play it. But yeah, the whole Resident Evil series, though.
Says Resident Evil, yeah. How do you feel?
Yeah.
I think I've played like 2, maybe 3 RE games. I actually really not super got big into those. I've played a couple of them though. How do you feel about
all of the main series except for 6 and Code Veronica? And yeah, they're spooky games, especially 100%. And I think Matt mentioned this one in his reply to the question too. 100% Resident Evil 7 Biohazard in VR is absolutely fucking terrifying. And it's the scariest I've ever been in my life. And I like shouting at the top of my lungs and freaking out and flinging myself all over my living room. And I played the whole thing that way. It was like 8 hours. I had to split it up into chunks because it was so scary. But that's the scariest video game I've ever played in my life, hands down. This is VR Resident Evil.
VR RE7, which I believe was really one of the top.
It makes me really wish that I had an Oculus Quest 2 without needing a Facebook account so that I could play the new Resident Evil 4 that just launched on that.
4, VR. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I know that apparently like on PSVR, that was RE7 was like the number 1 played game on PSVR, I think. It was up there. I know it was on the top of that list somewhere. I just saw that report not long ago. So that's cool. I played 4. No, I played 5. I played 6. Didn't finish 6. Played the hell out of 5. 5 in co-op was super fun.
5 co-op was
not
dope.
Super scary.
Yeah,
not super scary. And then I played Revelations or Revelations 2. And that's all I've played of those games. So,
Oh, you should play 2. RE2 remake. You should
the
play
2
that.
remake? Maybe, but I don't like to be spooked. I don't like to be jump spooked. That's the worst.
There are definitely some jump spooks. There are also definitely some anticipation, like you're scaring yourself kind of thing. Like I'm going to pee my pants, but it's my own fault because my brain's making me scared, not necessarily because the game is doing something scary in the moment. Yep.
My game made me pee my pants. Or my brain, not my game. My brain.
Well, I guess technically every action you take is a result of your brain, so.
In some kind of way, yeah. This is from Eric Berg. on Twitter. Good shout out to Berg. I like Berg a lot. He's a good guy. Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem on GameCube. The use of a sanity meter that broke the fourth wall made you think your TV's volume was changing, maybe you think your memory card was being erased, etc. Was awesome. Yes.
Oh,
at
that's
the time,
cool.
boy, I remember have you never heard about Eternal Darkness?
I've seen the cover of it a lot of places, but I have no idea what the game is.
Yeah, Eternal Darkness was, I don't remember what the game was about. It was a spooky game, but yeah, it would 100%. So you remember, like, back in GameCube days, everyone had, your volume meter was like the green bar, like the shitty, like, green.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And
it was the green,
like, turn
the green
down, like,
LED overlay. Well, not LED, CRT. But yeah, the green overlay across your screen. Yep.
Yeah, it would do that. The game fucked with you as a player in the game. Yeah, like your sanity meter would go down or whatever, and you'd be like, oh, well, your TV volume's off. And you're like, what? And you'd like mess with the TV, and you go up to mess with the TV, and then fucking something jump at you, like as you're walking to the real TV. It's like, gotcha.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah, but you think your memory card was erased? Yeah, it did cool stuff. It was like a one time, like, now that everyone knows about it on the internet, it's whatever. But at that time, you're like, what the fuck is it?
It's
how
only on
people feel
GameCube.
about. Yeah, how people feel about Psycho Mantis or whatever, that dude from Metal Gear.
Yeah.
It was a similar thing here. It was pretty cool.
That's great. That makes me want to get a
really
GameCube now and figure out a way to put that on my TV.
That bar comes in, you're like, that's not what my volume looks like at all.
There's no HomePod icon on that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So this is Matt from IR. No, RI.
RI.
IR is Injured Reserve. He is not on Injured Reserve. Clock Tower 3 on PS2. Shat myself while playing. Also shat myself while playing RE Biohazard. So this is what you were referencing.
7, yeah.
I don't know what Clock Tower 3 is.
I'm going to look that up right now.
Look it up and tell me
It
what
looks
it looks
like a scary
like,
little girl in a schoolgirl outfit with a bob haircut. Clock
Is she on, like, a
Tower
swing?
3 from Capcom. Is she what?
Is she on a swing? I think
don't
it's a
see
Silent Hill
swing.
game cover.
She,
Clock Tower.
oh, she's running down a hallway from something. Alyssa stumbles as she runs away from Sledgehammer in panic mode. Throughout most of the game, Alyssa has a panic meter visible on screen. If she's scared by a subordinate, attacked by a spirit, or simply frightened, her meter will begin to rise. She'll enter panic mode, and then the screen starts flashing, and it becomes difficult to control. And she begins stumbling and falling over. Ooh.
That seems really cool. For it being a third game in a series I've never heard about, that sounds pretty interesting. I like that. Matt from Injured Reserve. That's your new name. I'm sorry. Jeffrey Walker says, I don't usually play horror games because I'm a chicken, but I really enjoyed Until Dawn, even though I peed at my pants a few times. Everyone is soiling their underwear, I've noticed.
You know what? Underwear is overrated.
Soil them up.
That's what
I
they
like
just
Until
like.
Dawn
I
a
hate
lot.
the underwear on my body. I want to make it trash now so I can throw it away.
Get rid of
That's
this.
what they're doing.
I don't need it. Have you played Until Dawn?
I love Until Dawn. I played it with
too.
my two friends on the couch, and we just passed the controller back and forth, which was like part of it's scary because like, oh my gosh, I'm controlling this and going through and there are jump scares, and can I do the button prompt fast enough? And then part of it's scary because like, I'm now trusting that in someone else's hands as I pass the controller to them. I'm like, damn it. I knew that she fucked up and got that girl killed, but I could have saved that person, but I'm doing it for friendship. So multiple levels of scary in there.
Yeah. That cast is crazy. And also, I do love every scare in that game is a jump scare. There is no, it's just jump scare, but I really, really enjoyed that game as well. And then they've gone on to do all those anthology games, which I haven't played any of them, but some people seem to be big fans. So that'd be cool.
Until Dawn Rush of Blood, the VR game. Also
the VR,
scary
like the roller coaster?
Game. Yeah, it's a roller coaster game. Lots of screams on that one too. Very unsettling, scary game. Liked it a lot.
Cool. Can you look up what Snatcher is? Because DF Smitty also...
Let me turn on Safe Search.
Yeah. Don't do Snatcher in your incognito or whatever.
Snatcher for the Sega CD.
Sega CD? What is it?
Cyberpunk Adventure. It is... So it has like these pixel art... Well, okay, so I'm looking at a couple of screenshots. So, oh my god.
That was not a good face.
There, sorry. So at first I was looking at it's a pixel art, like it looks like a woman talking in a boardroom. It's like, old school graphics and stuff like that. And you have different choices you can do. You can choose the text option that says move, or you can look, or you can investigate, or you can ask her something. there's also an option that says use Metal Gear. Probably not Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
So it's a graphic adventure game with visual novel elements. So I guess you're playing through this scenario. But as you scroll down, there's a comparison of screenshots from the US version and the Japanese version. And there is, holy shit, a very graphic image of this dead woman on the floor. And in the US version, she's dead. Her skull, like you can see most of the skull of her face, and it's all pixel art, so it's kind of beautiful. You can see the skull of her face. There's blood, and like the rest of her skin is kind of like peeled back, and she has this green wig on, and it's disgusting. She's like a big old gash, and like her eyeballs over here. And you can say, look at remains, investigate remains, use Metal Gear. Use Metal Gear everywhere. And you look at the Japanese version, and it's the same thing, but her titties are out.
I know a version of the game I'd play.
Yep.
God, that's great.
I would use Metal Gear every time. God, yeah. If I played that as a kid, that would tear that's fucking horrifying looking. Go to the Wikipedia page, everyone. Scroll down half a page until you see a titty, and then look at her face.
Yeah.
Snatch her.
If you play that game, she comes for you. Watch out. Back for John Hansen, which we all know John. I believe John was that for Psychonauts?
Yeah, he was on for Psychonauts recently, and something else very recently too. I don't remember. He's a great guy.
But yeah.
Pixel Street Podcast.
John says, Dead by Daylight is my favorite. Not much of a horror fan, but I always enjoy the competition. Also, not traditionally a horror game, but BioShock has moments. So we can talk about both of these because, yes. So, Dead by Daylight, very fun. If you got friends, just like have a good time just not winning. I think I've won like a match of the 8 I've played as the survivors.
We played that for a few game nights after it went free to play. Or not free to play, but free on PlayStation Plus. And it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I remember I played it the other day, or maybe like a month ago. My friends wanted to play, and we played against a dude who was Michael Myers. And he just, apparently, you stare at people from far away and you power up, but then you never power down. So it's like, oh, he just fucking destroyed us because he was powered to level 3 and we just couldn't do anything about it. So that was fun. But also, so BioShock. People this is the thing, people are like, BioShock's a horror game. And I played that game and had no idea it was a horror game. I 100% completely beat that game, did not realize it was horror. And then people were like, remember this moment, this moment, this moment? I'm like, I guess you're right. That was supposed to be scary, but it didn't scare me as an emotionally dead child.
Yeah, there are parts of that game that are terrifying. Like even just there's the atmosphere in the beginning and like the splicer as the bathysphere is coming up to the very first level and the splicer like clawing across the thing. And then the like the first time that the spider splicers that are like spider splicers that are crawling all over the ceilings and shit like that come out of nowhere and scare the shit out of you. Yeah, that game is scary. And the story too, like playing through it. I remember when we played through it for Barf, I was going back through and listening to all the audio logs, and there's like the actual background behind all of these villains and the fucked up shit that they would do to their victims. And it's like, holy shit, like the Butcher. It's a horror game for sure. And also one of my favorite game franchises of all time.
Oh, it's very good. I think the problem with me, which was, I don't know what was wrong with me as a teenager. I don't know. But I played that game, and it was like, the decision, like, again, I thought the little sisters looked creepy or whatever. But it's like, you harvest them or you do whatever. And I harvested every fucking little sister in that game. I was literally at the point where I was like, I don't know what to do with all these extra points. So I don't think it scared me because I was the terror.
I am the one who knocks.
Yeah, I was the one. I was just like, give me the shotgun. Let me shoot these dudes up. I will harvest every one of these children so I can become more powerful.
Oh my God, you horrible person.
I think I ended up saving like the last like couple of them because I literally just had maxed out points. So well, there's no reason to. And then it's fucked up when you get to that part in spoilers for a 10-year-old game. When you like go to like the orphanage or whatever, it's like, ooh boy.
Yeah. Yep.
Killing all of y'all. But yeah, it's definitely scary. Let's see. Dusty Hill. See, everyone's got Halloween names because it's Halloween time, so it's Spooky Hill is his name. Alien Isolation on Xbox One. When you had the Kinect attached, it was very spooky. So I believe this worked with either Kinect or if you had a headset with a microphone on it. But you'd play the game, again, very spooky. The alien hunts you down, you got to hide from it, that kind of a thing. But I remember if you had some sort of microphone attached, and you made too much noise, the alien would find you. So like you'd hide in the locker and it wouldn't, that's how you hide and stay safe. But if you're like, oh shit, and you made too much noise, the game would be like, oh, they made noise on the microphone, fucking get them. And they would fucking get you in your hiding spot because you made too much. But they didn't tell you that. It's just a thing that happens in the game, but they never tell you that it's a thing in the game. So it's like, that's really fucking cool that you just
that is
like got
awesome.
yourself.
I didn't realize
really
that.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a dog that just like in the wrong moment just starts barking at something in the background,
you're dead.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That's one of those games that is like on my, maybe we'll put that up as a barf game. It's a game that I've always wanted to play, but I never had. I even bought it a long ass time ago and have never played it.
I think I own it in multiple places, but also have not played it. And last, we have Andrew Hullabaloo. God, I love, what a good word.
Yeah.
Dead Space. Played it at an age I definitely wasn't supposed to, and was the first ever game I had to quit an hour or so in because I did not have the willpower to continue. Yeah, Dead Space was fucking terrifying. That game was like, it's just so like visceral and gory and jump scares and but also just like dread. It's just like you're just slowly walking around like, yeah, I'm gonna die at any moment. Yeah, Dead Space is a very good one. I'm glad that remake's coming out.
God, that remake is, I totally forgot that was a thing until right now, and I just got like so many goosebumps and my nipples are just pointy and it's great. I can't wait.
Very nice.
I'm going to throw one more game in there. The first game, the Surge game, they made a sequel that wasn't as scary, but it's like, you know, sci-fi Dark Souls, and a lot of those environments remind me a lot of Dead Space. And there are so many like shadowy corners and bad guys popping out of nowhere. And you have the horror of the environment and the bad guys, but you also have the horror of the Dark Souls like risk reward stuff too. You're like, fuck, I've got all of this, I forget, the scrap or whatever it is that I've saved up and shit like that, and I don't want to lose it. So there's all of that anticipation that goes along with it too.
Yeah, I've only ever played 2. I've never played 1, so yeah, I guess 1 is a different tone because 2 isn't. Again, it's worrisome. Like I don't want to lose my stuff, but it's not really like scary. But yeah, 1 is. So that's interesting. I kind of want to play 1 because I like 2 a lot, actually.
It's great. I loved it.
Yep. And then for me, one I would add would be Condemned was really fun back in the day. Everyone remembers that one, which was an Xbox 360 launch game. But I just remember the thing with the mannequins where you would like turn around and turn back and they were always a little bit closer. It's like, fuck this game.
The only game that I've like, I was too scared to play it was Outlast. And I was, the thing that I don't like about horror games, when you play a horror game and you have no way to defend yourself and you literally like your only option is run and hide. Yeah. Like those are the things where like, nope, that's too scary for me. I can't do it. Or especially if like you can only see things if you like look through a camera. Like, oh God, that shit scares the shit out of me. So yeah, I played Outlast with a friend of mine. And we like passed the controller back and forth. And after about 30 minutes of it, I passed the controller. Him was like, you can keep it. And he's like, I don't want it. I was like, we don't have to play this game anymore.
Uninstall.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. That's my segment, everybody. Spooky gaming interrogative by fans and friends. Ooh. I used the ghost from, I was going to say Harry Potter. That's incorrect. The ghost from Scooby-Doo in that tweet because what a fun show. Scooby-Doo. I love Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Who? It's time for Game On Game Show. The Game On Our Gaming Show, we play a game called Game On, the gaming show on our game show. Game. We have another spooky game to go along with your spooky interrogative because this is the last episode people we hear before Halloween, right? Yeah,
no,
I think so.
I think we have one more before Halloween. Next Sunday is Halloween.
So we'll be recording one live, but it won't drop until
on
November
Halloween
2nd. Okay. Cool. All right. This game is called Good Movies, Bad Games, Papa John's. Scary Edition.
Yeah, there he is.
Yep. I had to bring the Papa John's in there. It's a game that we have not played before, but it's one that I could see us doing in the future with other licensed things. So that's why I labeled this one Scary Edition. Mm-hmm. So I have 6 games here that I will tell you a little bit about. Just as like a fun, like, can you guess what game this is? They are all games that are licensed, so they're based on horror movies or serial killers or thrillers or things like that from all throughout time.
Okay.
So we're going to start. I will read the year the game came out, the platform, and then just a few little bullet points about the game. Just curious to see if you can get it, just for fun.
I guess the game.
You guessed the game. Not necessarily like the title, but even just like the property it's licensed from.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right, so this is a 2013 iOS game. It is also the first game ever made about this property. Gameplay is similar to traditional endless runners like Temple Run. The camera is behind the character as they run through a doll factory, attempting to avoid environmental hazards like conveyor belts, forklifts, acid pools, barrels, and other obstacles. An important element of the game is to execute security guards patrolling the factory. Players can use various weapons to do so: a knife, which is the default weapon, a cleaver, a screwdriver, or a hammer. Can you guess what horror property this endless runner is based on?
I have an idea. I just want to point out that doll factory that has acid pools and conveyor belts. Interesting mix of things in that factory. I'm going to say Child's Play, aka Chucky.
It is Chucky Slash and Dash on iOS.
Okay, that sounded right. Yeah, when you went to the weapons, I was like, oh yes, the knife, but also the screwdriver. I remember that one.
That was one of those. The Chucky Child's Play movie is one that I watched way too young as a kid and terrified the shit out of me. And then I also had, you remember Neopets? No, sorry, Nanopets. Yeah. Nanopets were like nano babies, which were basically Tamagotchis, but it was like pets.
Oh, so you had Tamagotchi.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. So it was I had a dog one, and it would like, let's play. And they would say shit. And my mom like almost threw mine in the trash because she came down in the middle of the night to get like water or a snack or something like that. And my Neopet or whatever fuck pet was like, let's play, right after we had watched that movie. Scared the shit out of her.
Going right in the dumpster.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Let's play.
See, I only watched those movies as adults, and I'm like, these are really fun. But I also wasn't a child.
Terrified the shit out of me. I was like maybe 6 or 7 when I watched the first Child's Play. It's so scary. All right. Next one is from 1983 on the Atari 2600. After we figure out what this game is, I highly encourage you to look up screenshots from it because it's fantastic. Okay. The player takes on the role of the movie's villain and attempts to murder trespassers while avoiding obstacles such as fences, wheelchairs, and cow skulls. Each victim slain gives the player 1,000 points. The player receives additional fuel at every 5,000 points. A life is lost when the player's weapon runs out of gasoline. Gameplay ends when the last tank of gas is consumed.
So, I have an idea. I don't know when the original movie came out, but I'm assuming Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
It is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yes, it is.
When did that first movie come out?
It's before 1983.
It was later 80s. Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah.
What are these screenshots? Are they bad?
Look it up. Oh my God.
All right, I'm going to look it up.
It is like the Leatherface is just like a purple blob. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw
video game.
What?
I think
Atari?
it's the only game that's ever come out for it. Yeah, Atari.
Oh boy.
Atari 2600.
Yeah.
It is fantastic.
It just looks like a dude like... You're just like a man with like it looks like a frying pan, but it's the same color as your clothes. I don't understand.
His chainsaw looks like Walt Jr. from Breaking Bad and his assistive devices that he had to have for his cerebral palsy. Mm-hmm. That's what his chainsaw looks like in this Atari game.
It's literally just like a long arm, and it's blue.
A long arm with some
the
bumps
chainsaw
on
is
it.
blue.
And yeah, there's just a wheelchair in the middle of a big green square.
Just a big
and a truck that is smaller than the wheelchair. And you just got to walk around and poke people with your blue long arm.
No wonder they thought games were going to die.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yep. All right. Next up, also an Atari 2600 game. Also came out in 1983.
Mm-hmm.
Although the game shared the movie's title and featured the film's theatrical poster as the cover art, the game itself never refers to any characters, including the killer, by their names. Players take on a role of a teenage babysitter who tries to save as many children from an unnamed knife-wielding killer as possible. When the babysitter is killed, her head disappears and is replaced by blood pulsating from the neck as she runs around exaggeratedly. In another effort to save money, most versions of this game did not even have a label on the cartridge. It was simply a piece of tape with the name written in marker.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ in heaven. It's Halloween.
It is Halloween, yep.
And what a ridiculous thing that they're like, we can't afford it. So just put a piece of tape with the name on it. Jesus Christ.
Also, look up Halloween screenshots because it is equally as good as
this has been
Texas
fun.
Chainsaw Massacre.
Halloween Atari.
There's just 4 stripes of color that represent different parts of the house. And then you're just a babysitter running around saving kids while Michael Myers comes and murders them all.
You have you have an orange floor, you have green walls, and then black. I guess that's a door and a window. It's just the squares. Oh my God. Ugh.
All right. Next up. So that was the third one. You've gotten all 3 correct so far. This one's a little more modern. 2006. Came out on PC, Xbox, and PS2. This game features open world gameplay with the player assuming control of a large animal and being able to roam freely, feeding on other animals and humans while destroying everything in its path. As the animal becomes hungry, its health will diminish, forcing players to eat constantly. 30 years after the event of the first film, the island is growing, making corporate connections, and increased population around the island and industrial activity has also attracted Earth's most fearsome creature and the game's main character.
You said 2006.
2006.
Okay, so I have
Takes
2
place
guesses.
30 years after the events of the first film.
I'm going to guess that this is Jaws.
It is Jaws Unleashed.
I remember that awful game on the original. Yeah, I was like, this is either Jaws or Godzilla. I'm like, Godzilla's not really horror, so I guess I'll go with Jaws first. Yeah, I remember that awful game.
Looks a lot better than Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
100 times better. I think there's also a Jaws NES game or Super NES game.
I don't know. I didn't see that one.
I might be incorrect, but yes.
2 more. This one's from 1990. Came out on the NES, and notably, this one was developed by Rare, who also made Banjo-Kazooie and Sea of Thieves. It's a Castlevania-style side-scroller that is surprisingly respectful of the source material. You play as one of 4 teenagers trying to collect the killer's bones and put an end to him once and for all. Your only way of avoiding death is by finding and collecting coffee.
So I know that there's a really bad NES game based on a horror franchise. And I don't know if it's made by Rare, but I'm just going to guess. Is this Friday the 13th?
This is not Friday the 13th. Here's the biggest clue. The only way of avoiding death is by finding and collecting coffee.
That doesn't tell me anything. No, I guess you use coffee to stay awake, so Nightmare on Elm Street.
It is Nightmare on Elm Street, yes.
I've never even heard of that game.
Look at screenshots. It's actually, it looks a lot better than the Atari versions of
than everything else you're talking about.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street. And you said NES?
NES, yep. Came out in 1990.
Nightmare in Elm Street. That's not correct.
Google will find it.
So let me see. Yeah, I don't remember this cover of this game at all, but interesting. They actually, yeah, you're right. It looks halfway decent.
While I was looking up all of these things and looking at screenshots, I also was reminded of the Home Alone video game.
Oh yeah, that's actually
NES.
a horror game.
Whoa. What a rough game that was to play. All right, last game of our Game on Game show is from 2002 on PC, PS2, and Xbox. It is a single-player, third-person shooter that features squad mechanics, and you play as a special forces team that was sent to an outpost to determine what happened to the research team. The game includes a trust system that could be the difference between your teammates following you or suspecting that you're actually the killer. The NPC teammates could also turn into the killer at various points during the game.
I know exactly what this is, and I'm not going to give you the answer yet, but I'm going to tell you the story. So back in that time, the early 2000s, I loved video game magazines. And I remember seeing ads and stories for this game, and I was so fucking excited to play this. And I've never actually played it, but I wanted it so bad. I was like, oh, the killer can be it. It's The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing, the video game. I was so excited for this game as a kid. I never played it, but I wanted to play it so bad.
I was in the same, like I'd seen it in magazines. I'd seen it, I guess, yeah, I was all over the internet by that point. I was 12. Probably downloaded the trailer off Kazaa or something. But yeah, I played this game and I really, really liked it a lot for a 12-year-old kid, I guess. But I apparently, while I was reading through, it was like, apparently it's really faithful to the source material. And we were watching last year when quarantine happened, Matt and Holden and I watched The Thing all together, like just synchronized it and hit play at the same time. And we all watched The Thing. And I was like, I don't think I've seen this movie before. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen this movie. But then at different points throughout, I was like, I kind of think I know what's going to happen next. I feel like I've seen this before. And then it turns out, oh yeah, I played the game. I forgot I played the game of this movie. And it's super faithful.
That's cool. I like to hear that it ended up being good because, there's a lot of games from my childhood that I wanted to, and I just never touched it. I can't play it now because it's fucking 20 years later. But that's cool that it actually was a good game. I'm happy for what could have been.
That's it for Game on Game Show, and that is it for episode 229 of Respawn Aim Fire. Again, you have some homework as a listener to the show, as a lifelong friend. Your first piece of homework is to go play our BARF game for the month, which you can tell how far into it I am because I had to ask Adam what it was during our intro video with the 5 seconds before we went live. So it is Prince of Persia, the 2008 version with Nolan North as the prince. Go and play that. We've talked about how it's available. You can get it it's backwards compatible on Xbox if you have the disc. You can get it through PlayStation Now if you want to sign up for a free trial there or pay for $9.99 for a month of that streaming service to play it. Or if, like me, you have your PS3 waiting around right on the other side of the living room with it still downloaded on it, you can do that too.
There you go.
Play that. We're going to talk about it towards the end of the month, maybe early November. Also, go to patreon.com/respawnaimfire. You can get all sorts of fun perks there, like Adam just mentioned. We have 2 reviews coming at you within the next week and a half. We've got the Far Cry 6 review, and we've got Metroid Dread review coming at you. You get it first on Patreon before it comes to everyone else later on YouTube and podcast services. So go there, get dope wallpapers, vote on BARF games, play with us on game nights, etc., etc. Membership's just $1. That's it. That's it for the week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Until next time, here's your usual sign-off. Go watch the Batman trailer by Matt Reeves. Stat.
I'm vengeance.
I'm Batman.